Good day, everyone. This is Sidnile for Fair of SL Podcast. I'm very excited again today to be sharing information with you, the information that is meant to change your life and make you better. We are on another important topic today, which I'm very excited about as always. Don't worry, be happy. That's what we are talking about today. Many people perceive or they have a perception that happiness is a byproduct of things that are going well in our lives or things that we are doing and we are succeeding on. We have this notion and we have this perception that things have to be okay for us to be happy. We're talking promotions, we're talking having newborn babies, we're talking having new cars and new houses. These are the things that make us happy. And a lot of us are inclined to be happy when we have all these things going well for us. We are very happy and we are excited when there's a little bit of some scale up here and there in our lives. We're talking salary increases, we're talking new business ventures that have a potential to help us improve our capital. These are the things that make us to be happy and to be ecstatic. These are the things that leave us ecstatic and with a celebratory joy in our hearts. But should life be like that? Are we really sure we have to be happy because some things are happening that are making us excited? Because many people have this idea that for us to be happy, we have to have everything going well for us. But at the end of the day, this is just a perception. We can look at life and we can perceive better looking at the overall life. We live our lives peeping on the outside, looking at how other people are doing or faring in life. And those are the things that get us worried. Whenever we see that other people are doing a little bit better than we are, we get worried. And it looks like things are not working for us. While in the actual fact, there are a lot of things that are going on which are okay and good for us. We really need to put life into perspective so that we can understand happiness is not supposed to be a byproduct of things going well. Happiness should be a decision that we make on a daily basis. The corrupted perception drives us to worry and to have a little bit of anxiety because at the end of the day, when we are worried, we want to appreciate the things that are happening in our lives. We have an obscured vision of the things that are happening. When we are worried, we can't see clearly, obviously. Obviously, things are not going to be as they are in real life because we have worry and we are anxious. And we must admit that there are a lot of things that are going on in our personal lives which we need to be grateful for. This is the reality that we live with. There are a lot of things that are happening, but as long as we are going to look at life and not put life into perspective, we are going to worry, we are going to be anxious about our lives, and we are going to look at our lives as if our lives are not worth anything or there's nothing absolutely which is going on to be celebrated in our lives. If we let the perception or this wrong perceptions to rule our lives, we are never going to be happy. Happiness is going to be a far-fetched dream that can never be realized because life has a tendency, or life as it is, the things that make us happy don't happen every time. And they happen far in between. And if we are going to be happy because we have bought new clothes or we have bought something new, then for us to be happy, we have to maintain the pattern of getting new things or having things that will make us celebrate. But at the end of the day, life is not like that. We have to choose to be happy. We have to make a choice every day to be happy and appreciate everything that is happening. For the fact that we wake up in the morning is something to celebrate. Other people don't make it. And as long as we have that perception, we will have everything to celebrate. Because it is very important for us to come to appreciate life for what it is, not what we perceive, and not to have an obscured vision of the real things that are happening. If at all, what we have or don't have will be the determining factor of our happiness, we know for sure it is going to be very tough, or we are never going to be happy in life. If at all our happiness is fully dependent on the things that are working for us, life is not like that. We go through life and life is quiet sometimes. Nothing really happening or nothing significant happening. But happiness is something that we have to wake up every morning and choose to be happy. Because at the end of the day, our health depends on us being happy. And everything, our relationships are dependent on us choosing to be happy and to be jubilant. Because to live around somebody who is groupy and not happy, it can be cumbersome. It can be a burden. Because at the end of the day, you'll be carrying that person along and they will be heavy. And we need to understand happiness is not dependent on what we have or on what we don't have or on things that are happening around us. Because at the end of the day, like I said, there are quiet days. And for a lot of people, quiet days are gloomy days. And it shouldn't be like that at the end of the day. We need to be happy. We need to choose to be happy. We need to have this perception that I am happy because I choose to be happy, not because happiness has been triggered or activated by an activity that happened in my life. We can safely say happiness and worry are antagonistic opposites, which we have to pick from. And whatever we pick, whatever we choose, we will have to see to it that we live with the consequences. Because to be happy, it has its own benefits. And to be worried, it has its own consequences to deal with. But at the end of the day, why should we worry on things that we don't have control over? Because there are things, life doesn't always have to be something that we can control. We don't always control the activities around us. We don't always control people around us. We don't always control attitudes around us. But we can control our feelings, how we feel, and how we perceive things, and how we react to everything that is happening around us. What we know and what is actually happening around us can become very insignificant as long as we allow worry and anxiety to rule our lives. All these things, what we know that we want to be happy. We know that we want things to work for us. We know that we want to enjoy life. But all those things, if we allow the negative energy, the negative attitude to be the ones ruling our lives, things like worry and anxiety, we are never going to see the better days or the good days. And we are going to have very few happy days and far in between, because if our happiness is dependent on what is happening or the things that are happening which are good, we are going to suffer at the end of the day. We must admit that anxiety and worry and uncontentment are weeds that if we allow, they will grow and they will choke every good thing that is trying to grow in our personal lives. These are weeds. These are bad things. Worry and anxiety are not anything to go by. And a lot of people will be saying, I can't help it, but sometimes I feel worried, I feel anxious, I feel not happy, and I can't help it. You can't help it because you didn't make a choice and a deliberate choice to be happy. And the more we decide to be happy and we learn the habit of deciding to be happy, it's going to be easy as time goes on. Because at the end of the day, everything is within our control. How we feel, we don't control what happens around us, but we can control how we feel and we control how we perceive things. As much as we work on our minds, as much as we work on the ideas and the ideals concerning our lives, we can choose the positive energies like happiness. We must admit that we will be left very dry and will be left very empty and with a lot of void in our lives if our lives are going to be controlled by negative energies. If we are going to be worried, if we are going to be anxious, this thing will drain us and we'll be running empty most of the time and it will be very difficult to live with, because at the end of the day, instead of us choosing to be happy, we'll be fully dependent on what is happening. And if nothing is happening around us, we are definitely going to be gloomy. Things might be going well in our lives, and things can be going well in our lives, as long as the elusiveness of happiness and worry and anxiety is put into perspective. At the end of the day, we don't need to be eluded by what we can choose to experience in our personal lives. We just need to make the right choices. We need to make the right calls. We need to pick what works for us. We need to pick the right emotions and the right ideals so that at the end of the day, our lives, most of our days on earth will be happy days. It is very important to realize that the weeds that appear in our lives, these are the negative energies. They're just here to destabilize our lives. And if we are going to go with them and flow with the flow, our lives are going to be catastrophic. But at the end of the day, we can choose some energies which we want to live by. And one of them is happiness. We need to decide every morning. Whenever we wake up in the morning, we need to choose to be happy. We need to choose to be content with life, because that's how we are supposed to react and act every morning. It is very important for us to come to that. It is within our control not to let ourselves to be troubled. We need to choose, because at the end of the day, we get troubled by things that we think are going to be negative or they are going to bring negative energies in our lives. But why should we be troubled at the end of the day? Those are things that will happen anyway, whether we are troubled or we are not troubled. At the end of the day, we can choose to be happy regardless of what is happening around us. Because at the end of the day, happiness is within our control and it is within our choices. We can choose to or opt to assume the mindset of peace of mind. These are some of the things that we can pick on and we can choose and we can opt, because at the end of the day, we have options. We can choose to be bitter about things that are happening around us, things that are not working for us, things that are against us, when odds are against us. So we can choose to pick negative energies, or we can choose to pick positive energies. We can choose to be happy regardless of whatever thing that is happening around us. These things are possible, and these things are within our control. We can choose to be grateful and appreciative of every little thing that is happening in our lives. We can choose to be happy. We can choose to be appreciative. We can choose to be content with every little thing that is happening around us. These are the things that can fuel our positive energies. These are the things that can keep us in shape. So that at the end of the day, whatever happens doesn't determine how we feel and how we act and how we do stuff. Because at the end of the day, our lives are at stake. And if we choose not to be happy, we'll be sad. And at the end of the day, all these energies are the things that will be fueling our bodies with negative energies and negative hormones, which are definitely going to hurt us. People are sick. We have chronic conditions because we are worried most of the time, and we are anxious most of the time, and we are not happy. And when we live life like that, our bodies can't cope, and we can't make the right calls and the right decisions, because at the end of the day, we have picked negative energies. It is important to understand that it is of no use. We don't benefit anything from carrying our cares around and our worries, and we don't benefit anything from being anxious about things that we don't have control over. At the end of the day, all those things are not helping us in any way. And in most cases, we let our illusions get the better of us, and we lose perspective. We end up worrying about things we are supposed to be grateful for. That's how painful all these things are. We lose perspective, and we can't even pick on small things that are working for us, the things that we need to be grateful for, because we are delusioned now. We can't get the things that we need to pick, and we can't understand, or we can't perceive properly the things that we need to perceive. And at the end of the day, we are going to end up with serious negative energies that are affecting everything concerning us. There is more to life than the things we worry about at the end of the day. There is way more to life. There are so many things that we can be grateful for. And as long as we have the right perspective, we are going to see those ones and be grateful. At the end of the day, our lives are dependent on all that. If we don't choose to be happy, and we allow worry and anxiety and all these negative energies to encroach our lives and to rule our lives, we are going to be very bitter. And at the end of the day, it will be very difficult to live with. We can reduce our lives to the things that are not working for us. And unfortunately, that's a bad way of living life. We don't have to reduce our lives to the things that we don't have, or the things that are not working for us. We just can't do that. As much as there are things that are not working for us, as much as there are things we don't have, but there are things that are working for us, and we need to pick on these things. And we need to be grateful for. And at the end of the day, some things in life are meant to come later in life. And if we can come to a place where we are experiencing good things, but we are experiencing good things now, having worried all our lives and being sick, we are not going to enjoy the things that are good that are ahead of us, because we got there now not in shape altogether, because we allowed worry and anxiety and all these negative energies to rule our lives and destroy our bodies. We can't live life miserable because there are things that didn't go according to plan. We just can't live miserable lives because things are not going according to how we planned it, because life is not like that. We have our own way of thinking, we have our own perceptions, we have our own desires, but at times other things are delayed. At times other things won't work because they are not supposed to work. And if we are going to worry about all these things, at the end of the day, we are going to live miserable lives and we'll be out of control completely. In conclusion, happiness and contentment are decisions and not a byproduct of anything. We decide to be happy. This is something that we really need to put into perspective. Happiness is not a byproduct of anything. As much as many people are happy when things are going well for them, it's not supposed to be like that. Happiness is a decision, not a byproduct. We decide to be happy, and we decide to live in happiness. We decide not to be troubled. We decide not to be anxious or worried. All these things are within our decisions. And at the end of the day, if we choose not to be happy, all these negative energies will find their way into our lives. And unfortunately, we are going to be bitter, and we are not going to experience life the best way we can, because we are worried, we are anxious, and we have all these negative energies around us. We can safely say, don't worry, be happy, because it is within our choice. These are things that we can decide on, and this thing is attainable. We can come to a place where we tell ourselves, and we use it as a mantra every morning to say, don't worry, be happy. And it doesn't necessarily mean things have to be going well for you at that particular time. You just decide to be happy, and you just decide to be jubilant. You just decide to have positive energy around you. It is very important. Happiness is our choice, and it is not dependent on anything. We decide to be happy. Our countenance must improve. Our faces must lighten up every day, because we choose to be happy independent of whatever is happening around us. Don't worry, be happy. Be happy with your life. Celebrate and be grateful for the little things that are happening in your life. There are a lot of things that we can't see because we are clouded by this gloominess around us, that things are not working for us. Even though there are a lot of things that are working for us. Some of us have good health. Other people are struggling badly with health. These are the things that we need to be grateful for. Other people don't have food, but every day we don't go home to hunger. There is always something that we eat, and we need to be grateful for all the small things. Before other things which are more significant come our way, we should be grateful for the little things that are happening, for the little victories that are happening. We can decide to be happy. we can decide to live life in a happy mode. At the end of the day, don't worry, be happy. Thank you.